Hello students, I welcome you all in my lecture series on physics of nanomaterials for Physics 2. Myself Dr. Sucharita Bhattacharya, Associate Professor of Physics from Guru Nanak Institute of Technology, Kolkata, is delivering my lecture session for third semester BTech course. And the streams under considerations are Computer Science and Engineering, Information Technology, and today I am going to deliver the lecture 3 of on physics of nanomaterials. So let us take a look what we are going to deliver today. Actually, I am continuing the module 5 of physics 2 with code PH301. In module 5, we have to cover the physics of nanomaterials where total 4 lectures are allocated. Today I am starting the lesson 3. In today's lesson, I will discuss mainly the properties of the nanomaterials and some related applications. Okay. Naturally, the questions what we will, rather the topics what we will address in today's session are mainly the magnetic properties, the electronic properties, and the optical properties. The three most pronounced properties in the nano scale, in the nano range scale, what the materials encounter. Okay. Now, let us start once after another. Actually, why do we specially considering the properties of nanomaterials? For the last two sessions, you students have understood that the increase in surface to volume ratio in smaller objects allows the surface atoms of the materials to dominate over the interior atoms. Surface to volume ratio in smaller objects. Naturally, as a significant fraction of atoms in nanostructures, the smallest structure so far we are considering now, it is a significant fraction of atoms in nanostructure is located near the boundaries. So the properties of these atoms may differ from the interior atoms. So the properties of the nanostructures may be considerably determined by these surface or interface atoms. Actually, we have discussed in the last two classes, I already mentioned, that the surface to volume ratio is large for smaller objects. Naturally, more number of atoms are there near the boundary of those objects. So more and more number of atoms will be in the boundary, more reactive the corresponding atom will be with its nearest neighbors. Naturally, it will give the change of properties significantly compared to the interior atoms, which are not so reactive with its immediate neighboring atoms. Now, at the nanometer scale, properties become size dependent. Obviously, already we got it that in the nanometer scale, properties become size dependent, and the small size of the nanomaterials enables the predominance of quantum effects, because in small, that is in nano region scale, we are getting the quantum effect predominance in the form of quantum confinement we discussed in the last class. Accordingly, the properties which are required to be discussed very specially because they are now novel properties are the magnetic properties, the electronic properties, and the optical properties more commonly. Okay. Now let us come to the magnetic properties and its applications. Now, large surface to volume ratio results in a substantial proportion in atoms having different magnetic coupling with neighboring atoms. and that leads to different magnetic properties. In general, the situation is large surface to volume ratio and more atoms near the boundary. Now let us come to the case of the material insofar as the magnetic properties are concerned. And here it is found that magnetic coupling with nearest neighboring atoms become different because of large surface to volume ratio in the nanometer range, and it leads to very special magnetic properties. For example, bulk gold and platinum, they are non-magnetic. You students all know that gold and the platinum are not at all magnetic. They are non-magnetic. That means bulk one. But at the nano size, they act as the magnetic particles. When in the nanometer range you are going, then this bulk material becomes converted to nano range. So it will show the magnetic property. For example, gold nanoparticles, gold means aurum, gold nanoparticles become ferromagnetic when they are capped with the appropriate molecules such as thiol. Okay, so gold becomes, gold in the bulk state was non-magnetic. Now in the nano range, it becomes ferromagnetic. The maximum magnetism, which is maximum magnetism shown by that magnetic class of material, that is the ferro one. If you just reduce the size in nanometer range and if you cap it with appropriate molecules such as thiol. Now, magnetic nanoparticles are used in imaging, bioprocessing, refrigeration, as well as high storage magnetic memory media. Actually, in storage magnetic memory media, they are extensively used. Now, here we must introduce a very special phenomenon in the nanometer range of the magnetic particle in the form of giant magnetoresistance, that is popularly called GMR, which is a phenomenon observed in nanoscale multi-layered with typical thickness of a few nanometer, consisting of alternating layers of strong ferromagnets like iron, cobalt, nickel, the famous iron group, and a weaker magnetic or non-magnetic buffer in the form of chromium and the copper. So, in case of GMR, we will now find that in the range of nanometer thickness, the alternating layers of the ferromagnet, strong ferromagnet, and some weak magnetic or non-magnetic buffer how show the special property. It is called giant magnetoresistance. Accordingly, it was discovered that application of a magnetic field to such a iron chromium multilayer, for example, results in a significantly large reduction in electrical resistance of the multilayer. This change in resistance of the multilayer arises when the applied magnetic field aligns the magnetic moment of the successive ferromagnetic layers. It is giant magnetoresistance means there should be a large change in magnetoresistance. Now here it is found that large change, more specifically the large reduction in electrical resistance, if you apply a magnetic field on such multi-layer of say iron chromium. Iron is a strong ferromagnet and chromium, that is the non-magnet. Now why the things are happening like that? Let us get a little bit detailed clarification. In absence of magnetic field, we know that magnetic moments of the ferromagnetic material remain antiparallel. Why? Each ferromagnetic material has that every atom of the ferromagnetic material has permanent magnetic moment. But when magnetic field is not present there, because of the thermal randomization, they are oriented not at all parallel. Now, applied magnetic field aligns the magnetic moment in parallel. Naturally, there will be the saturation of magnetization. when you increase the intensity of the magnetization, the very famous property of the ferromagnetic material. So it results in multi-layer saturation of magnetization in the multi-layers of ferromagnet and the non-magnet, and it leads to a drop in the electrical resistance of the multi-layer. So what is happening? Before magnetic field, the ferromagnetic material remain antiparallel. Now when you are applying the magnetic field, the material alignments in the form of the magnetic moment become parallel, and it ultimately saturates, and this saturation occurs in the multi-layer magnetization, leading to a drop in the electrical resistance of the multi-layer. Let us take a look at this diagram. So look at the first one. Here the anti-parallel magnetic moment alignment is found in ferromagnet layers. Now alternate ferromagnet layers, in between we have the non-magnetic metal in the form of the chromium. Now no magnetic field is applied here, so in general you are getting the anti-parallel magnetization. Now when field is applied, then you are getting the parallel magnetization. So in presence of the field, there is parallel magnetization. Because of anti-parallel magnetization, obviously the magnetoresistance is high, but when parallel alignment is obtained because of the application of the field, obviously there will be the resistance which will reduce. Just take a look at this graph. Here resistance versus magnetic field is drawn. Now look, at the beginning when magnetic field is 0, what about the resistance? That is the anti-parallel resistance shows a very high value. Now you start giving the magnetic field and increase the intensity. What will happen? The resistance will start decreasing. That means conductance increases, and ultimately at a sufficiently large magnetic field you will find the resistance for parallel alignment is very small, where you are getting the saturation, because all magnetic moments of the ferromagnetic material are now aligned. So further increase of the magnetic field will not reduce the resistance anymore. So this is the high resistance due to anti-parallel alignment of the ferromagnetic material. Now by incorporating the non-magnetic material in between and by applying the magnetic field, you are reducing the resistance. So there is huge change in resistance, and it is termed as giant magnetoresistance. This resulting current, obviously the resistance is reducing, so current will increase. The resulting current may be in the plane of the layer, or such effect can also be obtained with current perpendicular to the layers. In the plane of the layer itself, you can get the current, but perpendicular to the layer, there is also possible the current to get. Now, what about the main application of this GMR? Very special phenomenon here. The main application of GMR is magnetic field sensors, which are used in read data, to read the data in hard disk drive. So to read the data in hard disk drive, this type of GMR is used as magnetic field sensors. It is also used as biosensors, and most importantly in MEMS, that means micro electromechanical system. It is also used in micro electromechanical system, that is MEMS and other devices. GMR multilayer structures are also used in magnetoresistive random access memory. It is also used in MRAM. MRAM means magnetoresistive random access memory as cells, which can store 1 bit of information. This can store as 1 bit of information. So mostly in the storage devices, the GMR phenomenon is used in magnetic field sensors to read the data from disk drive. Also it is used in MEMS, and also it is used in MRAM as cell to store 1 bit of information. So it is very, very special in the nanometer range. I hope you are understanding that why giant magnetoresistance has the special status. Not only that, the material like gold, it shows the magnetism, not only magnetism, the ferromagnetism in the nanometer range because of this very special property of the large proportion of atom in the boundary, which changes the characteristics of the material from bulk to nanometer range when reduced. Okay. Now let us move to the electronic properties. And we already have seen that electronic structure of nanomaterial is different from its bulk material. So nano clusters again may be of different sizes. So definitely they have the different electronic structures and different energy level separations. Already we discussed in the last class that nano clusters of different sizes will have different electronic structures and different energy level separation. The density of energy states also changes in conduction band. Now, the changes which occur in electronic properties as the system dimension changes to nanometer range is mainly related to the increasing influence of the wave-like properties of the electron, obviously the quantum mechanical effect and the scarcity of the scattering centers. So when we are reducing the size, then the changes what we are encountering in the electronic properties of the system is mainly related to the increasing influence of the wave-like property of the electrons, that is the quantum mechanical effect and the scarcity of the scattering center. Now, as the size of the system become comparable to the de Broglie wavelength of the electron, the discrete nature of the energy states obviously become apparent. You are very much familiar with this concept that if the size of the system become comparable to the de Broglie wavelength of the electron, the discrete nature of the energy states we used to obtain, though we know that for complete discretization, all three dimensions must be confined. That means for complete discretization or fully discrete energy spectrum, the system must be confined in all three dimensions. But apparent discretization appears if the system size, that means in terms of de Broglie wavelength of the electron, become comparable to the system size, then discrete nature of the energy states become apparent. In certain cases, conducting materials become insulators below a certain critical length in the nano range as the energy band ceases to overlap. Now, insulator means there is a large energy gap and conductor means the overlapping of the energy bands. Now, if conducting material below a certain critical length scale, if you consider the size, then it is found that its energy band ceases to overlap and the material behavior changes from conducting to insulated, conducting material to insulated. And owing to the intrinsic wave-like nature, electrons, already we have seen it, electrons can tunnel quantum mechanically between two closely adjacent nanostructures because you are considering the energy band gap which is not present now because the system size you have reduced below a critical length. So, owing to the intrinsic wave-like nature, obviously electrons now showing that the electron can tunnel easily through by quantum as per the quantum mechanics between the two closely adjacent nanostructures. Now, if a voltage is applied, then now when electron can tunnel quantum mechanically between two structures, what will happen? There will be the conduction. Naturally, the potential difference or the voltage will arise. Now, under this situation, voltage change will arise rather. Now, under this situation, if a voltage you apply between these nanostructures, which can align the discrete energy levels, then there will be resonance. the resonance tunneling will take place, and if there is resonance tunneling, then definitely there will be abrupt increase in the tunneling current. Very, very important one. So the material behavior changes from conductor to insulator below the certain critical length, and because of the wave nature, the electron can tunnel between two closely spaced nanostructures. Naturally, there will be the change in the current and the voltage. Now, under this situation, if additional voltage is applied between these nanostructures, which align the discrete energy levels, then there will be resonance in tunneling, and you will get the large change, that is abrupt increase in tunneling current. Now, this resonant tunneling, it is very, very important nowadays. Now, conduction is highly confined structures. Conduction in highly confined structure means quantum dot. It is very, very special one. Is very sensitive to the presence of other charge carriers and to the charge state of the dot itself. There is conduction process involving even single electron, and as a result, naturally, the small amount of energy is required to operate a switch or transistor or the memory element under these type of conditions. That means when you are considering the conduction in highly confined structure like the quantum dot, when you are considering the conduction in quantum dot, it is very sensitive because the quantum dot you are considering. So the number of the particles there in the form of, you can say, it is very, very small. Rather, the atoms is very, very small because all three dimensions you have reduced. So the presence of other charge carriers and the charge state of the dot plays a huge role. And it is found that conduction is possible involving in single electron. Naturally, very small amount of energy is required to operate a switch, transistor, or memory element. These phenomena can be utilized to produce different types of components for electronic, optoelectronic, and information processing applications in the form of resonant tunneling transistor, that is RTT, and single electron transistor, that is ACT or SET. So this type of conduction in highly confined structure involving single electron as well as the resonant quantum tunneling, these type of phenomena nowadays are utilized to produce very different type of components produce the different type of components for electronics, optoelectronics, and the information processing in the form of RTT. RTT is resonant tunneling transistor and the single electronic transistor. Now, in case of single electron transistor, not electronic, single electron transistor, it is a very, very sensitive electronic switching device which uses controlled electron tunneling. Naturally, it can amplify current where nano dot is used. The quantum dot or the nano dot is used. So already I mentioned, since it involves the single electron, so very small amount of energy is required. That means you can you can operate it with controlled electron tunneling, and which amplify the current because of resonance there, and here we are using the nano dot. Now, a very special area is also need to be mentioned. Nanoparticle covered electrodes. Nanoparticle covered electrodes after proper nanoparticle covered electrodes means what you are considering as the cathode and the anode. They alter properties as compared to conventional electrodes with same chemical composition. This change is why originating because of the large surface area and obviously enhanced conduction, because you are now coating the ordinary electrodes with nanoparticle. Okay, so what is happening? Definitely it can alter the properties compared to the conventional electrode though the chemical composition of the electrode remaining same, but only you have changed the size scale to the nanometer range. Then when you are changing the size scale to nanometer range, you are increasing the surface area, the large surface area you are getting, and which enhances the conduction. So these are some electronic properties which are a little bit different, which needs to be considered here, particularly the resonant tunneling and the single electron transistor case. Now we are going to introduce the optical properties. Mind it, optical properties is very much related to electronic properties because of electronic structures, the optical properties we are getting, and electronic structure change the very special optical properties we are getting. Now in today's class, I will discuss in general few optical properties, definitely mainly the color effect, but in the next class I will go for very detailed applications of the optical properties in terms of the quantum dot particularly, as well as the quantum dot is already I mentioned, and in the last class we have got the idea that how to form the quantum dot, and it is also told that current area of research in nanotechnology is the quantum dot. So let us have some idea about the optical properties now. In small nanoclusters, the effect of reduced dimensionality on electronic structure has the most profound effect on the energies of HOMO. HOMO means highest occupied molecular orbitals, which is nothing but the valence band, and the lowest unoccupied molecular orbital, that is LUMO, essentially the conduction band. I hope you are understanding the meaning of it very easily. So that when you are reducing the dimension of the material, the electronic structure definitely has the maximum effect on the energies of the highest occupied molecular orbital. What about that? We know that is the valence band, that is HOMO, and LUMO means lowest unoccupied molecular orbital, that is the conduction band. Now, when we are talking about the valence band and the conduction band and their effect on the electronic structure scale, then definitely we will consider the case of most commonly the optical emission and absorption when the transition of electron take place between these two states. That's why I mentioned that electronic properties to some extent very much similar to optical properties. So I hope you are understanding. So basically valence band and conduction band, when you are considering, you are talking about the electronic properties. But when you are considering the emission and absorption in the optical range, when the transition of electron takes place between the valence band and the conduction band, then what is the net emission? Emission and absorption must be in the form of electromagnetic radiation, and depending upon the wavelength range, you are getting different type of electromagnetic output. If it is in the visible range, then it is the case for optical spectrum. Okay. Now, semiconductors and many metals show large change in optical properties such as the color effect as a function of obviously particle size as well as particle shape as well as the dielectric properties of the medium. So, semiconductors and conductors, they can show the large change in optical properties. Mainly, I'm talking about the color effect. When you are considering the particle size to be reduced, and particle size if reduces, sometimes you can consider the shape also to be changed. At the same time, if you consider the dielectric property of the medium to change, then all these things are manifested in the form of the different wavelength in the visible range, giving you the different color at the output. Let us consider the examples. The thin film of gold or aurum. Thin film of gold or aurum, 100 nanometer or less. It transmits blue violet light. It transmits blue violet light. Okay. Now, bulk aurum is gold yellow in color. But when we are talking about the colloidal suspension of the aurum in the nanometer range, we will find the color changes to red, sometimes purple, sometimes blue. So, mind it, in case of bulk gold, you are getting the color to be yellow. But when you are talking about the colloidal suspension of gold in the nanometer range, the color changes. Whereas in case of thin film, if you consider the thin film of gold in 100 nanometer range, we are getting it can transmit the blue violet light. So the color changes depending upon the state of the conditions as well as the size definitely. Now let us come to this point, that means the colloidal suspension of gold in little bit detail by considering the different sizes. Colloidal suspension of gold nanoparticles in the range of 6 to 20 nanometer diameter absorbs the shorter wavelengths of blue and yellow. We know the wavelength range in the visible range is determined by VIBGYOR. So, when you are considering the gold nanoparticles in the form of colloidal suspension within 6 to 20 nanometer in diameter, we used to find the absorption of shorter wavelength like blue and yellow. Whereas above diameters of 20 to 25 nanometer, the absorption peaks shift to longer wavelength. Longer wavelength means you are going to the red range of the spectrum. Accordingly, the gold color changes from ruby red. The gold color changes from ruby red to purple and then to violet and finally to pale blue for particle about 160 nanometer in diameter, above which the particle becomes gold in color again. Just take a look. What is very, very interesting what we are getting, that when it is in the 6 to 20 nanometer range in diameter, the absorption you are getting in the shorter wavelength. Now the diameter changes slightly, the absorption peaks started shifting towards the longer wavelength. I'm sorry, it was the shorter wavelength range. Now it is the longer wavelength range. That means the towards red range of the spectrum. Now the gold color changes from ruby red, so slightly pinkish, to purple, and then violet, and finally pale blue for particles about 160 nanometer. That means here you are increasing the size beyond 25 nanometer and ultimately it reaches to pale blue for particles about 160 nanometer in diameter, above which if you go, then you will get the gold color once more, with which you started the original color. Okay, let us just take a look at this diagram. So these are the different size gold particles. Now just take a look. What about the size? Now ruby red to purple, then purple to violet, then violet to pale blue. So these are the corresponding sizes what we are getting, and color changes this way. Very, very important one, and definitely it depends on the, you are getting the idea, the size of the particles and the dielectric property of the medium too. Now let us come to the case of silver. Silver is another very precious metal we know, used for jewelry. You are very much familiar with it. Now silver particles of 40 nanometer, exhibits blue color. Silver particles of 40 nanometer exhibits blue color, whereas silver particles of 100 nanometer exhibit yellow color. Silver particles of 100 nanometer exhibits yellow color, and prism shaped silver particles gives you the red color. I already mentioned that sometimes shape comes into play. In case of silver, it is very pronounced that prism shaped silver particles show the red color. Just take a look here. So silver particle of 40 nanometer, it exhibits the blue color. Okay. Silver particles of 100 nanometer, it exhibits the yellow color. And silver particles which is prism shaped, triangular nanoprisms of size again 100 nanometer, it shows the red color. In between we are getting two other colors with different diameters. So depending upon the size in the nanometer range of different material, we used to get as output the different optical properties in the form of the colors, that means the wavelengths. Okay. Now, other properties which may be affected by reduced dimensionality include the photocatalysis, photoconductivity, photoemission, as well as electroluminescence. So, these are the few other properties in the form of photocatalysis, photoconductivity, photoemission, and electroluminescence that we used to encounter when the size of the particles reduces to nanometer range, obviously. Now, this is the portion in the form of the different properties which have very pronounced effect are now discussed. Okay, I have discussed now. So, in the next session, what we will do, the very special applications of these optical properties we are going to discuss, particularly by considering the quantum dot, and there we will find that quantum dot is considered to be artificial atom. You will understand it very clearly. And another two area we will consider there, one is the graphene and the second one is the carbon nanotube. Very special one, along with some questions. Okay. So I hope students you enjoy the session, that how from one end we started with Feynman's vision, now exploring the properties of the nanomaterial. We have reached up to that by depending upon the size and the quantum confinement. So let us end our session today. Stay safe and stay healthy, and I will meet you again in the next class. Okay. Till then, bye.